The laboratory was silent, except for the soft hum of machines and the occasional beep from a blinking console. Scientists moved quickly, their faces full of worry, as they watched the strange device at the center of the room. It was called the prototype, and everyone said it was useless, a failure, a joke. Even the lead scientists laughed at it, shaking their heads, but no one could explain why it sometimes moved on its own. Dr. Elena Royce, the youngest scientist in the lab, stared at the prototype with wide eyes. She had spent months studying it, testing every function, but had never behaved like the manuals promised. Yet Elena felt something different tonight, something strange that made the hairs on her arms stand up. The prototype's lights flickered, and a low, humming sound filled the room, almost like it was breathing. Suddenly, the door to the lab opened, and a figure stepped in, silent and graceful. She wore a long cloak that shimmered with colors humans had never seen. Her eyes glowed faintly, and when she spoke, her voice was soft but powerful. "I'm not supposed to be here," she whispered, leaning close to Elena. "But the secret cannot wait." Elena's heart raced, and she took a careful step back, her mind trying to understand. The other scientists noticed nothing. They were too focused on the prototype, unaware of the visitor. The mysterious woman's presence made the air thick, heavy, almost alive. She bent closer to the prototype and placed a hand over its metallic surface, and the lights on the device pulsed as if responding. "The prototype is more than you think," she whispered, her words barely audible. "It is the key to something greater, something that even humans cannot imagine." Elena felt a chill run through her body, both fear and excitement mixing together. The prototype vibrated lightly, as if agreeing with the woman, and the room seemed to hum in response. Suddenly, the prototype's screen flashed with strange symbols, alien shapes that Elena had never seen. She leaned closer, trying to decipher the code, but it moved too fast, almost alive. The woman's eyes followed the symbols, her expression tense, and then she turned to Elena again. "You must protect it," she said urgently, "before they realize its true power." Before Elena could ask who they were, the lights in the lab flickered and dimmed. A low rumble shook the floor, like something large was moving outside the building. The prototype's hum grew louder, and its small metal arms began to move, not randomly, but with purpose. Elena realized, with a mixture of awe and fear, that this device, laughed at by everyone, might be alive. The mysterious woman stepped back, glancing toward the darkened windows. "They are coming," she said softly, her voice trembling, "and they will not stop for anything." Elena felt her breath catch, her mind racing, wondering who they were. The prototype's lights flashed bright, almost like a warning, and the room was filled with an electric tension. For the first time, Elena understood that this was not just an experiment, it was the beginning of something much larger, something that could change the world forever. And in the shadows outside the lab, something watched, waiting for the right moment to strike. The lab was quiet again, but Elena could feel the tension lingering. In the air, the prototype stood at the center, its lights pulsing slowly like a heartbeat. She could still feel the woman's presence, even though she had disappeared into the shadows. Elena could not stop thinking about the whispered words. "They are coming." Over the next few hours, strange things began happening in the lab. Small objects moved slightly on their own, papers fluttered, and screens flickered with alien symbols. Elena watched closely, her mind racing. The prototype seemed alive, as if it were trying to communicate with her. Then, a sudden flash of light outside the lab caught her attention. She rushed to the window and saw a glowing figure moving through the city streets. It was the alien woman, the same one who had whispered the secret. She moved gracefully, her cloak glowing in the night, and humans around her seemed frozen, unable to see her clearly. Elena's heart pounded. She knew the prototype was connected to this mysterious visitor somehow, but she did not yet understand how. She had to find out before it was too late. The next day, the prototype began behaving in ways Elena had never seen. Its metal arms moved faster, assembling small structures. It emitted soft sounds, almost like it was speaking. Elena leaned closer, placing her hand near it, and felt a strange warmth. She realized that the prototype was learning, growing, adapting. Meanwhile, reports began arriving from outside the lab. People claimed to see strange lights in the sky, objects that moved too fast to be airplanes, and some even reported glimpses of a woman in a glowing cloak, disappearing without a trace. Alina could not ignore the signs. The world was changing, and she was at the center of it. Late that night, she returned to the lab alone. The prototype's lights pulsed urgently, faster than ever. Then, suddenly, the alien woman appeared again. This time, she did not whisper, but spoke clearly, her voice urgent. "The others are here," she said, pointing to the darkened windows. "They are not human, and they want the prototype." Alina felt a shiver run down her spine. She had known humans might be afraid of the prototype, but now she realized the danger was far greater. She had to protect it, no matter what. The alien woman reached out and touched the prototype again. Its lights flared brightly, and the entire lab hummed with energy. A loud crash echoed from outside, followed by the sound of heavy footsteps. Elena's heart raced, and she crouched. Behind the console, the prototype's arms moved rapidly, as if preparing for defense. The alien woman's eyes glowed, scanning the room. "They are close," she said softly, "and soon they will arrive." Alina knew that nothing would ever be the same again. The prototype was more powerful than anyone imagined. The alien woman was not just a visitor. She was part of a larger force, and the city outside was no longer safe. As she looked at the glowing figure, Alina felt a mix of fear and excitement. She understood that the coming hours would decide the fate of humanity, and she had no choice but to act, because when the alien royalty arrived, the world as she knew it would change forever. The city streets were quiet, but the tension in the air was thick. Alina moved carefully through the lab, keeping one eye on the prototype. Its lights glowed brightly, and its metal arms moved with purpose. It was no longer just a machine. It was something more, something alive. Suddenly, alarms blared from outside the lab. Security cameras showed glowing figures moving quickly through the streets. Alina recognized the figure, instantly the alien woman, the princess. But this time, she was not alone. Shadows of other strange creatures followed her. They moved silently, their shapes shifting, almost blending with the darkness. Elena's heart raced. She realized that humans would soon see them, and chaos would follow. She ran to the prototype, trying to figure out how to defend it. The device's lights pulsed faster, and it emitted a soft, vibrating hum, almost like a warning. Then, the first human patrol arrived outside the lab. They saw the alien princess and the shadowy figures and raised their weapons. Panic erupted in the city. Sirens wailed, and people screamed. The princess froze for a moment, her eyes glowing brighter. Then, with incredible speed, she moved through the patrol, avoiding every attack effortlessly. It was clear she was not here to fight humans, but to protect something. Alina watched in awe and fear. The prototype began reacting, its arms moving faster, lights flashing in warning. It seemed to sense the danger in the presence of the alien royalty. Suddenly, a beam of light shot from the prototype, knocking back a drone flying toward the lab. Elena's heart skipped a beat. She realized it was not just a machine. It was a guardian. The alien princess approached Alina, her voice urgent. "They will not stop," she said. "They want the prototype, and they will destroy everything to get it." Alina nodded, fear and determination mixing inside her. She knew that the prototype's power was the only thing that could save them. The princess extended her hand toward Alina, a strange energy flowing from her fingertips. It felt warm and strong, almost like it was giving Alina courage. Suddenly, a loud crash came from the lab door. A group of humans, armed and determined, forced their way inside. They did not understand what they were seeing. They only saw glowing lights, moving shadows, and a strange woman who did not belong here. Alina stood in front of the prototype, ready to protect it. The princess's eyes met hers, and she whispered, "Trust it. It will protect us." The prototype's lights flared, and its arms moved like lightning. The humans froze in shock as the device raised a shield of energy, blocking their path. The alien princess moved closer to Alina, her cloak glowing brighter. "They cannot take it," she said. "Not while we are here." Outside, the city was in chaos, sirens wailing, and strange lights moving across the sky. Alina realized this was only the beginning of a much larger conflict. As the night stretched on, the prototype and the alien princess stood side by side. Humans tried to attack, but they could not touch them. Alina felt a strange pride and fear at the same time. She knew that the coming hours would change the world forever, and in the shadows, unseen enemies were preparing for the next move. The war for the prototype had begun. The city was in chaos, sirens echoing in the distance, and strange lights moving across the night sky. Elena stood beside the prototype, her heart pounding. The device's lights flared brightly, casting long shadows. Across the lab, it moved like a living creature, its metal arms shifting, ready to defend. The alien princess stepped forward, her cloak glowing brighter than ever. Her eyes scanned the approaching forces, her expression calm but determined. "They will not stop," she whispered to Elena. "They will try everything to take it, but we must hold them back, no matter the cost." Outside, human soldiers and strange shadowy creatures clashed, their weapons firing and sparks flying. The prototype emitted a loud hum, and a shield of energy formed around the lab. Elena could feel the vibrations through the floor. The prototype was alive, aware, and ready to protect. Suddenly, one of the shadowy creatures broke through the outer defenses. It moved like a shadow, fast and deadly. The princess raised her hand, and a beam of glowing energy shot from her palm. The creature froze, then vanished into thin air, leaving only a faint shimmer behind. Elena's eyes widened, realizing how powerful the princess really was. The human soldiers outside shouted orders, trying to coordinate their attack, but they could not understand what they were facing. The prototype reacted to every move, its arms spinning and creating barriers. Elena felt a mix of fear and excitement, knowing the device could change the battle. Then, a loud crash shook the lab, and the main doors exploded inward. More soldiers poured in, their weapons aimed at the prototype and the princess. The alien princess did not hesitate, moving gracefully through the chaos. She raised her voice, and the prototype responded, its arms moving faster, lights flashing in synchronization. "Elena, stay close," the princess shouted. The prototype formed a glowing wall, pushing back the intruders. Energy crackled in the air, and sparks flew like fireflies. Elena could feel the heat, the power, and the danger all around her. Suddenly, the princess turned to Elena, her eyes intense. "The secret I whispered. It is not just a warning," she said. "It is the key to protecting your world." Elena nodded, understanding that the prototype and the princess were linked. Together, they could face any threat, even if it meant risking everything. The battle outside raged on, and the city trembled. Elena and the princess moved as one, guiding the prototype to defend the lab. Each step was careful, each action precise. The humans did not know whether to fight or flee, and the shadowy creatures waited for the perfect moment to strike. As the night reached its darkest hour, the tension was almost unbearable. The prototype's lights flashed violently, warning of incoming danger. Elena's heart raced faster than ever. She knew that soon, the ultimate confrontation would come, and when it did, the fate of the prototype and perhaps all of humanity would hang in the balance. The first light of dawn crept over the city, painting the streets in soft gold and shadow. The battle had quieted, but the air still hummed with energy. The prototype stood at the center of the lab, its lights dimming slowly. It had protected the lab and the city, but Elena could feel that it had changed. It evolved. The alien princess moved beside her, her cloak still glowing faintly. Her eyes were calm now, but there was a deep seriousness in her gaze. "They will come again," she said softly, "but for now, the prototype is safe." Elena nodded, still catching her breath, realizing how close they had come to disaster. The city outside was quiet, but the humans who had witnessed the battle whispered rumors. Some spoke of a glowing woman, others spoke of a strange machine that seemed alive. No one fully understood what had happened, but the story would spread, and humanity would begin to question the world in ways they never had before. Elena turned to the prototype, running her hand along its smooth metal surface. "It's amazing," she whispered. "You're alive, and you saved us all." The device hummed softly, almost like it was acknowledging her words. She realized that it was not just a machine, but something beyond human understanding, something that could change the future of her species. The alien princess bent closer, her voice almost a whisper. "The secret I shared with you is only part of the truth," she said. "There is more, a greater force beyond this world. The prototype is the first key, but it will not be the last." Elena felt a chill, excitement and fear mixing together. She realized that their fight was only the beginning. Outside the lab, the humans began to rebuild, confused and wary. Some looked at Elena with fear, others with awe. They did not know the truth. They only saw the aftermath of a battle that had touched worlds far beyond their understanding. The alien princess took a step back, looking toward the sky. Her eyes glowed brighter for a moment, and then she vanished, leaving only a faint shimmer behind. Alina blinked, trying to comprehend what had just happened. She knew she would never forget this night, and she knew the prototype's journey was far from over. Alone in the lab, Alina stood beside the device. Its lights flickered, softly pulsing like a heartbeat. The city was safe, for now, but somewhere in the darkness, unseen eyes were watching, waiting for the next moment. And Elena understood that the prototype, the alien princess, and the secret they shared would shape the future of humanity forever. She took a deep breath, determination filling her chest. Whatever came next, she would be ready. The prototype had shown her that humans were not powerless, that courage, intelligence, and trust could face even the most impossible threats. And, in the silence of the lab, a new chapter was beginning, one that would take humanity to places they could not yet imagine. The night was over, but the story had only just begun.